All right, good morning from the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. Out for another little average weekend adventure. Starting at the road to nowhere, or the end of the road to nowhere. That was the parking area right back there. If you're not familiar with this section of the park, it's kind of by the lake end, the south end, Fontana Lake. Back in the 60s, I think it was 50s, 60s, they were going to continue this road along the lake shore all the way to Tennessee, and funding fell through. And it just fell out of favor, and they never completed it. So it just kind of dead ends up here. But we're going to be heading up the Forney Creek Trail. Eventually, we'll walk a couple of miles here on Lakeshore Trail, and then head up Forney Creek Trail, camping at campsite 68 tonight. And if all goes well, in the morning I'll plan on trying to get up to the top of Clingman's Dome, which should be kind of cool this time of year since the road up there is closed for another couple of months. It's about the only time you're going to be able to get any solitude on top of that mountain. But it is the highest point in the state of Tennessee, since it sits right on the line. But if you ever come up here, you can do some pretty cool day hikes. This first little area down here, there's a good little short loop you can do with kids that I've done with my son. It's only a couple miles. Campsite down there if you want to do an overnight. And what we have coming up is probably the neatest, most unique part about this section of the park. So let me flip the camera around here for you. As you can see, the last thing they built on the road to nowhere was this tunnel. And it is a pretty big structure here. I don't know, 100 yards long maybe? Just be careful when you're in here. Don't step in a big pile of horse poop and enjoy all the graffiti. Whoa, a little bit of ice already. All right, we'll wander through the dark caverns, as you can probably hear me echoing, and get to the other end. No. Okay, so I was wrong. It's definitely longer than 100 yards, probably more like 200-300 yards long. And it is dark in here this time of day. I think the last time I was here was in the middle of summer, and it didn't get quite this dark. It didn't seem like, but might have turned a little light on so I don't step in a big muddy, nasty pile or mud puddle. All right, so made it through the deep dark tunnel. Feels like it's like 10 degrees colder on this side for some reason. It is about 20-25 degrees this morning. It's supposed to warm up a little bit today, but we'll see how that goes as we go up in elevation too. This is a pretty big elevation change from down here on the lake shore end. I think you're starting out around 1,700 feet. And if you do go all the way to Clingman's Dome, you're getting above 6,600. So, pretty strenuous. About a 30-mile loop is what I'm going to end up doing between today and tomorrow. Probably be dealing with a little bit of rain tomorrow and some creek crossings this morning, which, given the time of year, I actually did bring some old trail runners. I don't typically do that, and I know you can call me a pansy, but I really don't like having wet feet, especially when it's this freaking cold outside. So we'll see how those go. Hadn't had a lot of rain recently, so the creek shouldn't be up too much, but more to come. All right, So we hit our first turn-off spot. We're gonna head up the White Oak Branch Trail. Can't see from my trekking poles, but it says it's about 1.8 miles to intersect the Forney Creek Trail up that way. You can also keep going this way, off down that way, and you hit the Forney Creek Trail in about 1 mile, but this kind of cuts catty corner, so should shave, I don't know, half mile off or something. But anyway, first trail junction, first right turn that you can make on the Lakeshore Trail here, about 2 miles in. Coming up on what I believe to be our first creek crossing. Hopefully we can navigate it without getting too wet. Alright, so this trail and the Lakeshore Trail that I was on earlier, both pretty chill as far as elevation change goes, and not really technical. You can see not a lot of rocks. These are old, for the most part, old logging roads. As this section of the park was pretty heavily logged around the turn of the last century. Gotta say, it does make for a nice change of pace. I feel like of late the only thing I've been doing is going on trails that just go straight up from the get-go. So to be, a little over 3 miles in and not feeling the burn in my thighs yet, it's kind of nice. It'll change soon enough, but it's a good little change of pace through here. It's definitely a great time of year to come out to this section of the park. If you just want solitude and get away from crowds. You could say that for just about any section of the park this time of year, as most of the people do come through in the summer, and then spring and fall are pretty popular as well. But wintertime, it's pretty easy to dodge the crowds. Basically just stay off Newfound Gap Road. And half the time that's closed due to weather as well. Alright, should be coming up on Horny Creek proper here in another quarter mile or so. Check back in there. This is White Oak Branch. And I think we can rock hop across this again. Alright, so we've got to our little trail junction here. That's the direction we came from. You can see it says about 3.8 miles. I got 3.75 by my watch, so pretty dang close. That heads back down to Lakeshore down that way, and you're really just kind of staying straight. And then you're on the Forney Creek Trail. 1.3 to Springhouse Branch, which we will be on tomorrow. And 2.5 to Jonas Creek. We're going to go past both of those. All right. Down here, walking along the side of Forney Creek. I will admit, it is a little more intimidating creek than I had imagined for this time of year. So I'm hoping, well, we'll see what the stream crossings are like. Like I said, I brought an extra pair of shoes, but the air temperature down here by the creek is solidly 10 degrees cooler than it was back a mile or so ago. So, saw some dog prints in the mud here. I'm guessing maybe coyotes, since you're not supposed to have, if you can see that or not, right there. Not supposed to have dogs in the national park, but it doesn't stop everybody. But anyway, trust me, if I'm going to fall in the creek, I'll make sure I get it on video for you. Don't worry. All right, so that water is stupid cold this time of year. Made it across safely. There was one little creek crossing, I don't know, 100 feet up from the one you saw me cross. But that one just kind of skirts the edge of the creek. You can pretty safely rock hop there. I kept the wet shoes on, still have them on actually. And I'm in a campsite area here, Trail Junction. See the signs behind me. This is, here, just let me flip it around for you. So this is the Horny Creek Trail, of course, that we're still on. About 1.2 miles to get to the Jonas Creek Trail. This is the Springhouse Branch Trail that connects over to Forney Ridge Trail, which is what will be coming down tomorrow. And I can't remember exactly which campsite this is, but you got Bear Hang over here, old chimney. So used to be an old cabin here at some point in time. Pretty open space though, right on the creek, running right over here. I think I'm going to check the map, see if I have any other major stream crossings coming up quickly. If I am, I'm just gonna keep my wet shoes on and my cool guy pants rolled up. Carry my boots a little while longer. Feet are warming up pretty quick after I got out of the water, so yeah, snack time I think. This is the trail. I'm glad I opted to keep the wet shoes on. Ooh, chilly, chilly. A lot of down trees on this trail too. All right, made it to the intersection of Jonas Creek Trail. If you are going that way, there is a bridge, log bridge there, looks like. Can't see where it crosses the other side, so I don't know if there's another one over there or not. But yeah, we're staying on the main trail here. 7.4 miles to Forney Ridge. Our campsite should be about 2 miles shy of that. So about 5.5 miles to go. We'll see how it goes. This is a broad camp crossing. I think I'm gonna try to go across that there. That looks cool. A little too deep for me today. It's like 2 feet deep. Burr. Pretty little creek though. All right, back to the Forney Creek. And it's like this is where I get to channel my inner Wisconsin, Michiganite, wherever you people call yourselves up there. So I know this is like summer weather for you. But yeah, we're gonna have to get pretty chilly on this. Looks like the trail goes over that way. I'll double check over here for just a second. All right, so upon closer inspection, this pool right here is deep to say the least. So I'm gonna have to stay on this side of these rocks, kind of pick my way carefully, because yeah, this could easily be 5 to 6 feet deep, especially over here where it gets kind of dark. I do not want to get that wet today if I can avoid it. And I'm sorry, folks, I don't think I'm going to film myself crossing this, because that means I have to come back and get the camera. And yeah, not doing this twice if I don't have to. Maybe you guys can see with it clipped to my chest like this. Let's see how it goes. Woo! Current's definitely not too bad, but it is pretty deep in spots. Rocks are definitely slick. Ugh. All right. Okay. Yowza, that is cold and painful. All right. So, made it across. That was definitely the deepest creek crossing that I would really want to do this time of year. Currently getting my boots back on. Toes were definitely frozen, but they're warming up pretty quick, so no permanent damage done. And yeah, hope my mom doesn't watch this. She's gonna be mad. All right, back to the Forney Creek, and it looks like this probably was at one point in time an old bridge crossing. You can see some of the stonework here. And on this side too. This is the old logging road. Definitely cannot cross right there. I went up this way along the side to see if maybe up that way was a little better, but then the rocks started getting covered with ice up there, so I think rock hopping's out. So it looks like probably my best bet is to go down here where this little calmer area is and cross over, and then I think I can walk through the woods around. I was really hoping not to have to get back in the water, but anyway, it is what it is. Glad I brought the extra pair of shoes. All right, made it across. That was not the funnest thing I've ever done. My feet are kind of like icicles right now, so I'm just trying to walk a minute. Get the blood flow back down there so we can keep going. Not sure, I think we've been about 8 miles now. So my original math and estimations were correct. Shouldn't have about 4 to go. We'll see. All right, in an attempt to not have to get my feet too wet again, I just bushwhacked through that. Probably only 300 meters, and it took me, I don't know, 45 minutes. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, that's for sure. Going through this rhododendron is maddening, to say the least. But it just really seems stupid to get my feet wet back there again twice, the way the trail went. So anyway, here's hoping we can maintain a little drier feet. All right, so unless I'm mistaken, the trail is just pretty much this creek right here at this point. Like, you're just walking up a creek. Looks like it opens up there in a minute, but yeah, that's what's beside me here. So yay, feet wet or bushwhacking, one of the two. All right, we've had a nice little respite on this old logging road for the past half mile or so. Just kind of slow, steady incline. No stream crossings, no rhododendron jungles. And we're finally starting to get a view up here of the ridges leading up to Clingman's Dome. That will be up around tomorrow. Now we're a good distance above the creek. You can kind of still make it out down here in the trees. Yeah. Chances of getting across this one maybe right here without getting too wet. At least I know I'm not getting up to my waist. This is another area where I guess there used to be a bridge a long time ago. But it's long since gone. A whole lot of this the past couple of miles, which is good because I'm tired of crossing creeks. Although we have a little one that's coming up here. Just gaining elevation. Maybe a mile or so to go before we get to the campsite. These are pretty fresh. And that looks like more than one. All right, should be the last stream crossing for the day here. Wish me luck that I don't slip and bust my butt. Looks like my little friends crossed right here too. Just staying on the trail, whatever they are. All right, so we made it to campsite 68. One thing I did notice about this campsite is it has an upper and lower section. So I may check out over here, but I think I'm gonna try to get on up to the lower section so I have a little less to do tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. All right, definitely worth coming up to the second spot here. This is Rock Slab Falls, running right behind the campsite. Hoping that doesn't make it too terribly cold. The site's pretty close to the water, but I think we'll be okay. All right, well, as you can tell, it started snowing while I was setting my tent up. And yeah, it's coming down pretty good. It's already pretty much coated the ground here. So able to get the rain fly over the tent and the bag pretty quick, so I think we should be all right. Not supposed to get a ton of snow, but this may put a damper on trying to have a fire tonight. I may just be hunkering down. I ended up putting the tent right here anyway, which is almost underneath the bear hang, which I wasn't too thrilled with, but the only other legitimate tent pad was up here, and it was already a frozen mud puddle. So I didn't feel like sleeping in a frozen mud puddle. I figured we'd chance it over here, see how it goes. It's only one night, right? All right, so the snow finally stopped. And still got a little sunlight here peeking through the clouds. I don't know if you can see that or not. We've got a small fire started. Yes, I can still build a fire in the snow. A lot of deadfall and stuff like hanging up in the trees and whatnot. It's really dry. Stuff on the ground's pretty wet, but didn't seem to be too much of a problem. And I think I'm gonna eat dinner soon and sit by the fire and all that good stuff. So not a bad day. About 13 and a half miles according to my watch. A little bit of that was going back and forth trying to find the best way across the river or whatnot. But don't know, I think it's at about 3,500 elevation, total elevation gain with all the ups and downs. So not a bad day, really. Tomorrow be almost as much elevation in about 2 miles. So the first 2 miles is going to be a trudge out of this ravine up to the ridge line there, kind of up this way. It's going to zigzag up that way. And that'll take us up to the Forney Ridge Trail. And if we make a right, we'll go to Andrews Bald. No relation. If we go left, we go up to Clingman's Dome parking lot and then Clingman's Dome itself. And I don't know yet. We'll see what the weather's like. It might be raining in the morning. If it is, I'm probably not going to feel like just trying to go up to the top just to say I did it. I don't know. I might. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I think that's probably all for today. All right, good morning. We got about 6 inches of snow last night, I think, and now it's turned to rain. So it's a nasty day. Here, let me show you. So this is my rain fly here. And it's, you can hear the ice sliding down. It's mostly rain now, but peek out here. Yeah, got a good amount of snow last night. Made for sleeping not so great because I was waking up every so often to knock the snow off the top of the tent. This tent isn't really made for snow, but we'll see. No leaks at all. Everything, boots stayed dry. You can probably see the ground is dry right here. Almost no condensation inside either. This is all on the outside. So, pretty happy with the tent. Sorry for the weird camera angles here. Shadows and whatnot. It's a little better. A little bit of sagging that could have been helped by me getting out and retensioning things, but it was nasty out. And it seemed to be holding the way it was, so I didn't bother. Anyway, it's time for breakfast. All right, sun is up. It's about 8 a.m. and we're packed up, ready to go. You can definitely tell where I slept. Got the gator zone, no spikes yet, because it's really just turned to slush. And I don't think spikes are gonna help much with that other than just caking it on the bottom of my boots. So hopefully this trail is not too terribly steep, but if it gets more frozen up above, we'll stop and put those on. Anyway, got about a 1,500 foot climb, it looks like. So not quite as bad as I thought yesterday. Over about 2 miles to get up to Forney Ridge, and then we'll decide whether or not we're gonna push on over to the summit or start heading down. The rain has stopped for now, but I don't know how long that's going to last. We shall see. All right, I survived the first precarious crossing of the day without getting too terribly wet and without falling off a waterfall. Yay, me. All right. This is going to be, I think, the last time we see the Horny Creek. It's hard to believe this little one-hop creek is the same raging river / creek we saw 10 miles ago. But got refilled on water. The trail actually heads up this way, away from the creek, and we'll switch back up till we get to the top of the ridge eventually. Yeah, refit on water, shed a layer, and back to my lovely trudge through the snow. All right, we made it to the Forney Ridge Trail. See the signs behind me here. So directly behind me is toward Andrews Ball. Directly in front of me is towards Clingman's Dome. So that last little jaunt, not gonna lie, kind of kicked my butt. It was at least a half mile longer than I anticipated. It's about 10 a.m. I got a lot of miles ahead, so I think I'm gonna save Clingman's Dome for another day. I've been there before, so not missing a whole lot. But should have a nice snowy hike down the ridge, pretty much all downhill from this point. Maybe a little uphill behind me there before we drop off into Andrews Ball. We'll show you what that looks like. It's not quite to Andrews Ball yet. And got some old tracks in the snow here, going off into the woods. Looks a little small to be turkey. I'm thinking maybe mountain chicken. Coming out on Andrews Bald. Foggy up top here. Huh, looks like they've got some little benches and stuff built out here now. It's been quite some time since I've been out here. Maybe 10 years or so. Absolutely gorgeous in the springtime. Well, late spring, late June time frame. That flame azaleas bloom up here. Pretty cool to check out. Also, yeah, lots of other wildflowers, but that's kind of the big draw. Looks like something a little bigger across the path here. I'm guessing a whitetail. All right, getting toward the end of Horny Ridge Trail here. I'm just seeing some monstrous old trees. This one straight in front of us here is huge. There's another one over there. We passed one just a minute ago. You know, I thought all of this was logged, but look at this. This is crazy. I mean, that's as big as you find on the eastern side of the United States. Here, let me give you a little perspective. Okay, you can see how big this freaking tree is. Not something you see every day, especially in this area where I thought it had been logged at one point in time. Maybe they missed one, I don't know. Let's say this one's relatively new. All right, we're at our trail junction. Hit Springhouse Branch Trail, 2.8 miles to Noland Creek, right up that way. As the sign says, if you go down, which is really just kind of keeping straight almost, that takes you back down to Forney Creek, where we passed that Springhouse Branch Trail yesterday. All right, let's get moving. Okay, this is not something you see every day. See my boot prints there, but notice all the canine prints Mud stirred up. Looks like maybe a slide down here. I'm guessing there's more canine prints over there. Like some kind of scratches. Something happened here. Something nefarious. Of course, it could have just been two coyotes screwing around with each other. It looks like they took off on down the trail here. See if we see any other cool evidence. So a few hundred yards down the trail, it does look like they were going the opposite direction of me. Another one of these big, like, skid marks right in the middle of their tracks. So I don't know if it's just a, looks like a couple of coyotes, judging by the number of prints there, but maybe they're running this trail and if they see a squirrel or something, they're trying to pounce on it. I don't know. No, there's no way in hell you can see what I'm looking at. But there was a, forgive me, we joke and call them mountain chickens. It does look like a very camouflaged chicken, and if he hadn't have moved, I wouldn't have seen him. I was looking to see if there's any more. I think it's a grouse, maybe? I don't know. But I'm still following these coyote tracks. There you go. There's the tracks for the mountain chicken. So kind of like a cross. It's been going for almost a mile now. They left this trail for maybe 50 feet at one point, and then they're back on it. I have a new theory that maybe they're running the trail and finding little voles or mice under the leaves and snow and digging them up and eating them. Because I've seen several other those scratch places where they dug up a bunch of stuff and then just kept on trucking. I even see a couple where you could tell they backtracked and went back to a spot. So anyway, never thought I'd be so happy to see a bridge. I don't think I'm going to film while I walk. I don't slip on this ice. Well, you know you're getting back closer to civilization when there's picnic tables in the woods. This should be Noland Creek trail here coming up. Yeah. And a bridge, yay! So it looks like this is going to be the trail back to Lakeview Drive, which is honestly a welcome sight. A little tired, a little banged up, and ready for just a nice gingerly stroll through the woods at this point. Watch, this will end here in about 2 seconds. All right, who knows what those are? Those are tadpoles. Well, they will be. Look pretty gross right now. All right, so just past campsite 65, which means we should only have about 1.25 miles to go to get back to Lakeshore Drive, and then about a 1/2 mile walk along Lakeshore Drive to get back to my car. So it's been a good little outing, a little more adventurous than I thought it was going to be, with all the stream crossings. I was expecting like one serious stream crossing, and then I think we ended up with about 3. If you don't count the ones I bypassed by chopping through the rhododendron jungle. That wasn't very fun. Don't recommend it. But I guess, saying that, I should say, if you do something up here in Noland Creek or Forney Creek area, or anywhere where there's going to be a ford, you're going to have to wade across, you do really need to know what you're doing in a river like that, or a creek, especially this time of year. There's just no room for error. You fall down and get soaking wet. You probably just want to call it a day and go back to the car at that point. I don't know. I probably would. But did not get up to the top of Clingman's dome. The snow made it a little bit more slow going. Getting out of the Forney Creek drainage today than I anticipated. And I think I made the right decision. It's about 3:30 right now. If we'd gone up to Clingman's, that would have tacked on an extra 3 miles and 1,000 foot of elevation gain. And so that probably would have put me maybe even after dark before I got back to my car. I don't like walking after dark. And I'd just be absolutely dead tired, as if I'm not pretty dang tired already. But these last few miles, just real easy stroll along this old road, and got the river to look at and listen to the whole time. And it's not a bad little stroll here. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.